We got to have some energy going on, right? It's a Sunday. Happy Sunday, everybody. It is National Pi Day 3.14.2021. I got the date right? Funny thing, I did actually see somebody do a whole bunch of numbers, 3.1415. My son knows up to 38 digits. I do not. I saw that with all kinds of numbers in somebody's yard. I don't remember which group. It was so cool. It was so cool. And it's a great thing to just remind ourselves, you know what? We can be creative in our businesses. So, okay, let's get started. Hello, everybody. I'm Chris-Ann, and I'm the founder of the Yard Card Business Network. We are here on Sunday. What did I already say? Pi Day 3.14. And I'm just going to check and make sure we are live. Let's see. I've got my handy dandy phone. I've got my iPad. It looks like you all can hear me. And I want to just go ahead and dive in because your time is very valuable to me. Okay. First up, thank you all so much for everybody that has submitted either questions or topic suggestions. And as you can imagine, there's so much that we can talk about. So I don't want to take up a ton of time. So here's what I want to do. I want to do a deep dive for my wonderful industry and work on different tips and tricks and strategies and ideas this week. How does that sound? Now, last week I did I guess it was just a few days ago, I did a really great Q&A session with our paid members. And I tell you what, here's what I know. We can spend 2 hours together and still there's so much more to cover. And you know what? That's what's great. And I don't know about you, but when I am really interested in a topic, I just want to learn more and more and more. And I've been in the business for 21 years. If you don't know me, just FYI, I started this back in 1999. And I live in Houston, Texas, and we have a ton of competitors now. And if any of you are in the Houston, Clear Lake, League City area, hello, friends. I just wanted to go ahead and say hello to everybody. But anyway, what I have found is there's always more questions. And I do try to do deep dives and immerse myself in training, right? I am always a student. Every single day, I am learning. And before I come on and do any of these, if there's information that I'm like, you know what, even though I know this, let me just double check. And so I am always looking stuff up too. So 21 years in, I tell you what, life is always changing, business is always changing. So without further ado, we're going to talk about 3 topics today. And these are all questions that have come in or topics that have come in. So let's get started. Number 1, how to earn more income. This question is asked more and more than anything else, as you can probably imagine, right? That's the reason we're all in here. All right. Number 2 are some specific tax deduction questions. And number 3 is about business insurance. Do any of those topics sound interesting to you? I hope so. Let me know if there's one that sounds more interesting than another. All right. The first one, you're going to kind of chuckle about that. How to earn more money. Well, if you've ever wondered how to earn more money, and let me just tell you, that has been a business question since the beginning of time. It is something every single company, for-profit company, is always trying to do. Let me ask you this. Do you think Apple and Coca-Cola are content? Or do you think they are still trying to figure out how to earn more money? We all know the answer to that. And so it's such a broad, huge, ginormous question that what I want to do, you're going to laugh at this probably, but I think we need to do a different training specifically and go over some actual specific suggestions. Now, I use the word specific a lot because it's just such a huge topic that we all want to learn more about that, right? So I think we want to do that. But I want to give you, I can't really say a short answer, but some suggestions. If you are brand new starting out, and brand new as in the past 3 months, and I mean like really, 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 you haven't really gotten off the ground yet, then what I recommend you do is decide on what your starting budget, your startup budget is going to be. Don't look at what I say. It's like you're in class, right? You've got, classmates around you. Don't look to your left. Don't look to your right. Look at what's in front of you, because what your friend to the left is doing and what your friend to the right is doing may not be what you're doing. So we've got people that want to work 5 hours a week. We've got people that want to work 50 hours a week. Everybody is in a different place in their life. So the best thing you can do when you're first starting out is figure out what you want out of the business. If you are somebody who is literally trying to earn $500, do you know most Americans, what they're really trying to earn whenever they're looking for a part-time job or a part-time business, they need an extra $500 a month. And that's the gap that's needed. And now you can go down the rabbit hole and go, well, I want to replace my job and all that. That's different. But most Americans are just needing that little gap. And so you might just be looking for $500 a month. You might just be looking for $1,000 a month. What works for your family is going to be different than what works for somebody else's family. So I want you to look at that. And when you do that, then look at your startup budget and actually come up with one, because I will tell you, when you decide to skip the planning part and just want to go straight into the fun part, which is buying inventory, it's going to take you a lot longer to start actually earning income as in your pocket. I like to say more pennies in your pocket. And that's a lot different. We've got our gross revenue, which means what people pay you, right? But that doesn't mean that's what goes into your pocket. So if you charge $100, that $100 is probably not completely going into your pocket, especially when you've got business expenses. Everybody's going to have business expenses. When you're starting up, you're going to have more business expenses. So that's what I would talk to a brand new person about, is deciding on that. Now, if you've been in the business, whether it's been 6 months, a year, 5 years, I invite you and encourage you to go back and reassess that. Are you still clear? Were you ever clear? A lot of people are like, you know what? I never really thought about it. I just wanted to make as much money as possible. And that's not a number. Pick a number. So with that, that's my short answer to how to earn more money. If you would like, we will do something separate. And you know what? I'm just going to plan on doing that. I'm going to write that on my list, because I am going, like I said, I'm going to do some other Facebook Lives and then maybe even a Zoom, because sometimes it's really nice for me to get to see people's faces, right? And we can actually have a conversation. So we're going to do that. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about a couple of questions on taxes. Now, the first question is, have you done your income tax yet? If you're brand new, if 2020 was your first year in business, God bless you. First of all, it was a crazy year with the pandemic, but it might be your first year that you've ever had a business. And doing a Schedule C, whether you're a sole proprietor or an LLC, is a lot more, I hate to use the word overwhelming, but it's a lot different than doing your 1040 easy form, right? So with that, there's a lot of different things. And what I'm going to do right now, if y'all don't mind, I am going to share my screen. And I want to just show this to you. Now, if y'all have already done your taxes, then you're going to want to just disregard this. But I want to show this to people who have not yet. So hold on one second. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen with you. Maybe. Okay, here we go. Are y'all ready? Here we go. Here we go. All right. Now, would somebody do me a favor, please? Because when I do this, I am flying blind. If somebody would comment below and let me know, can you actually see my screen? this is the tricky part with the technology, is me trying to actually know if anything's working or not. So if somebody could do that, that would be wonderful. I'm going to wait just a second because our connection is actually a bit delayed. And let's find out. Okay, it looks like I am going. I hope. Okay, awesome. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate your help on this. It's so crazy with technology. Okay, so here's what I want to show you all. When you look down here, first of all, this is what a Schedule C looks like, profit and loss. And of course, nowadays, I would think just about everybody's doing it online, but this is what the actual form looks like. And I'm not going to spend time going through this. And let's see, we're going to go down here to expenses. And let me just give you a disclosure real quick. This is my opinion. I am not a tax CPA, so I am not giving you any sort of professional advice. I have, however, had my own experience with it, and so all I can do is share that with you. I'm not able to actually give you professional advice. So I have to just give you that disclosure, right? So when you look at all your expenses here, you've got advertising. Did you know that your website is advertising? That's something that would go in right there. And then, of course, you've got a whole bunch of other categories. If you have anybody that helps you in your business, they're going to be contract labor. I'm not going to really spend a lot of time looking through these, but professional services, you've got all kinds of things here, right? Okay. I just want you, if you've never seen this yet, I want to make sure that you see that. It's a bunch of other fields, and then of course, there's always the other. If something doesn't fit neatly, it goes in the other. However, when you do, hold on, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. When you use software, let's say like TurboTax, hold on, I'm coming back. Hopefully I'm there. When you use something like TurboTax, or you go to your local CPA or your local bookkeeper, whoever, your H&R Block, whomever you're going to, they're not going to give you a form like that. You answer some questions, and it's much friendlier than just filling out that form just straight up, right? So I highly recommend that. Now, if you're not sure, that's actually the reason. If you don't have our business expense cheat sheet, y'all should definitely get that. It's trust me, when you look at some of those things, there might be things on there that you're like, oh, I didn't know that was tax deductible. So this is 3 of the questions I've gotten. So let's dive in. Number 1, is QuickBooks for your business deductible? Yes, it is. There is a professional services category, and that goes in there. Is your membership with the Yard Card Business Network deductible? Yes, it is. There is a category for membership and subscriptions and professional associations. That would be us. Next up, number 3, clothing. Okay, this one's a little bit different, right? So, okay, let's see. Can you all see this? I am in my local business. It's called Flamingos to Go. In case y'all ever see Flamingo stuff, that's why I'm a Flamingo girl. So I have this shirt on and it says Flamingos to Go. I don't know if it's backwards or not, but I promise it does. And it's embroidered in here, right? So this is a business shirt, right? Here's my question for you. Here's a quiz, kids. Do you think this shirt is tax deductible? Yes or no? I'll give you a second to decide. You can put that in the chat, or you can just answer in your head. Maybe it's a trick question. Maybe it's a simple answer, right? You don't know. Okay. We'll wait just a second while you all think about that for a second. And there's a reason I'm asking this. Hang tight. I'm looking for my answers in case. Okay, Alan, thank you very much. Yes. All right, I'm trying to not make a mess. And for any of y'all watching the replay, or anybody watching this on YouTube, this is also being broadcast over on Facebook. And so we have comments over there. So I know it can be a little bit questionable when you're watching a YouTube video and you're like, what are we talking about with questions? or comments. That's because it's actually happening over on Facebook Live. So I just want to mention that to anybody that's over on YouTube for us. Okay, so awesome. Thank y'all for your feedback. The most popular answer is yes. Okay, well, the actual answer is it depends. You know I love saying that, right? So here's what I want to show you. Hold on. I have visual aids. Who here is a visual person? I think everybody in our business is a visual person. Okay. I don't have this exact shirt, except I don't have another one. So I went into my wardrobe. Okay. But I have a similar one. Yes, I like pink. So do you see how that's embroidered? I think this one's embroidered. Yes. Okay. This one's embroidered. So this looks like I like to wear my business shirts. I think it's important to it's helpful for your business branding. This is how the shirt started out, right? I got this at JCPenney's, and then I also shop at Kohl's. There's so many different places and I like to get Drywick. Side note, not that you need any thoughts on wardrobe choices, but I'm just sharing my experiences. I like Drywick because, let's face it, we need that around here. I'm in Houston, Texas. It's very humid almost all the time, unless we have an ice storm. So here's what this looks like. I don't know if you can. Okay, I'm going to just stand up. So we have the plain one, the blank one, right? And then I went and got it embroidered. Can y'all see that? Okay. This shirt, the plain one, is not tax deductible because it can be for personal use, like just regular everyday use, right? Anybody can buy this and it is not tax deductible. Hold on. Wait for it. But Chris, what about this? You've got your business name on it, right? Yes, I do have my business name on it. Guess what's tax deductible? The embroidery I had done on it. It can be screen print, whatever you do to personalize it. This part is what's tax deductible. The actual shirt, even though you've now made it into a piece of business clothing, this is not tax deductible. Let's see if I can do this right. This part is tax deductible. So let's say, okay, so this is what's funny because I am such a bargain shopper. This was, I don't know, $8 or $9. The tag says 20, but I never buy full price, right? That's just what we do. So I think this was $8 or $9. When you go get something embroidered, you're going to pay about that. So whatever that, let's say that this cost me $8. We're going to forget about the cost of the shirt, but we can deduct the embroidery. Does that make sense? Okay, so we have that. Let me put those away. I have another visual aid. I feel like I'm in court, right, with our evidence. Okay, next up, are you ready? What about this? Do you see what this is? This is another shirt, and it's got my business name on it. I can't tell if this is backwards or not, but it says Flamingos to Go. Now, this is just a general graphic that I was able to use. Do you think this is tax deductible? By the way, side note, this is about the size for a Build-A-Bear. It is not my size. Anybody have Build-A-Bears anymore? This would fit a Build-A-Bear. Okay, so Alan, you win the prize. Yes, this full shirt is tax deductible. Are you wondering, why, Chris? Why is this one tax deductible, but this one isn't? That's a good question. I'm really glad you asked that. The answer is I had this one, the entire shirt custom made. And let's see, I'm trying to remember if this was Vistaprint. I'm sure you all have seen 10,000 places online where you can get a custom shirt made. When you get the entire shirt made and it's got your business name on it, the entire shirt is tax deductible. Does that make sense? I hope so. And here's the downside. When you're getting them online, I'm just going to show you the difference here. This one is a little bit too big for me. I'll be real, but this is what happens. Can y'all see that difference? This is what happens when you order online. You see that difference? It's Build-A-Bear size. You don't know what you're going to get. And then guess what? Because it's custom, you're not returning it. Okay. Was that helpful to anybody? Sort of an odd subject. Now, you are going to find people that tell you, yes, it is. That whole thing's deductible. And that's fine. Y'all get to decide how you want. However, there's going to be more small businesses than ever claiming Schedule Cs this year. And the IRS is already on the lookout because they know there's going to be so many people falsifying their home office and their Schedule Cs. So I think it's something to just pause and go, you know what? Is it worth the deduction? If you're questioning something, just go through that question in your head first and go, if I'm not really sure if it's a legitimate deduction or not, should I go ahead and deduct it? Is it worth that extra itty bitty bit on my taxes? The answer is usually no. So I'm telling you my experience, and I had a tax CPA educate me on that subject because who would have known? Now, regardless, if you think about it, yeah, you can just go buy a shirt. So I'm like, okay, I go get my business name on it and I pay $8 or whatever it is, get a receipt, it's deductible. So I hope that's helpful. Alan, great. I'm so glad to hear that. And by the way, Alan, it's for more than just pink, just so you know, in case you're not into pink. I have to mention that it really is for any color. And, maybe I should change mine from pink to another color. But as you can see in my office, I kind of got a lot of pink going on. Okay, next up, we are going to talk about insurance. This is not necessarily the funnest, is that a word? This is not necessarily the sexiest topic at all. There's a few things in our business, a number of them actually, that are not the fun topics, that are not sexy topics, but we got to cover them anyway, right? One of the questions I see asked and get asked about, I can't tell you how many times, is about insurance. And here's what I'm here to tell you. Yes, you need insurance. There you go. Everybody have a nice day. Hope your Sunday is going well. There's my answer. If you'd like to know a little bit more about that, first of all, I have to give you my disclaimer again. I'm not an insurance person. I do not play one on TV or on the internet. This is just what I have learned through my business and through a lot of research I have done. So again, there's my disclaimer. If I were in business, I would need a general liability policy. And the last time I checked, they start at about a $1 million policy. You can get more insurance on that, but 1 million is about the best place to start. In our industry, I think it would be very doable. That's not how much you're paying for it. It's how much coverage you will get for your business. So I think a $1 million policy is great. There's all kinds of different nuances to it. But here's the thing about general liability for business is that if somebody gets hurt with your signs, even if it's their fault, guess who is liable? You are. Do you know about, like, if you're in your car and there's a pedestrian that walks literally and jumps right in front of your car, who do you think's at fault? Well, you know it's them, right? But guess who is held responsible? You are, because you're the one with the car. It sucks, but it's how things are. So if you've got anybody, let's think about it. You are in somebody else's yard, right? So even though we would never mean to, things can happen. We can damage property. Somebody can get damaged or get injured off of our signs. Back when the pandemic first started, I will just tell you, a big concern was whether somebody could contract the coronavirus from our signs, such as, let's see, I'll pick on my phone. If this were a sign and I place it in the yard, and then the guest of honor comes out and they touch the sign, they're probably posing next to it, right? And then they contract the coronavirus, who's liable? And then heaven forbid, they end up in the hospital. They end up with medical bills. Heaven forbid they die, right? So a year ago, for anybody who was living under a rock, we really had no idea. This was unprecedented times. What it brought up immediately for me is, oh my gosh, we have liability. What happens if? Because we didn't know, right? We don't know if we're able to contract it literally by holding something and then giving it to somebody else. So this was a great time to also have in any sort of terms, conditions, liability insurance that says we are also not responsible for illness. So we went from just property damage to personal injury to personal illness. It's been a long year, right? Who would have ever thought we needed to put that in there? But we have. And so it's another great example of why everybody should get general liability insurance. Now, if you don't, I'm not saying you absolutely have to. These are all just things to consider. Now, the next one, I would love to know, do you have commercial auto insurance? Most people are using a personal vehicle, right? With that, let's see, hold on, sorry. More people sending me questions. Most people are using a personal vehicle. Now, there's some people that have gone out and bought a commercial van. So that's a really simple answer. Of course, they need commercial auto insurance. But if you're using your personal vehicle, do you need commercial auto insurance? That's a good question, right? Because there's certain things you can do with your personal vehicle that are completely covered just by your personal plan. However, there's things that you do that may require you to get commercial auto insurance. And I don't know what your insurance agency covers and what their requirements are. With that said, here's what I recommend doing. Ask your agent. They're going to tell you one way or the other. If you don't know your agent, well, then it might be time to ask. I promise you, between you and your family members and your friends, there is an auto insurance agent or tons of them around you. Ask them. This doesn't mean that you are changing insurance, but just ask them casually. Hey, I've got this business and I have signs in the back, but I also use my automobile personally. Am I fine just using my personal insurance? Because it's also deemed advertising, especially if you have the car magnets, then it's advertising, right? So ask them. If you've got Progressive, Geico, some of these that are what I call like the faceless insurance agencies, those are going to be a little bit harder to get the answer from because they may not get what you do. But I think if you were to start asking around locally, somebody who's got a face, who's a real human, right? This day and age, somebody knows an insurance agent. And those insurance agents have been around now long enough to understand what our yard greetings are. Yard cards, yard greetings, lawn letters, whatever you want to call our industry. They'll now understand what it is and talk to a human. That doesn't mean you're changing policies. It just means you get a real feel as to what you should be doing and what's covered and what's not covered. So There is that. Okay, so next up, those are the two things. There's also other things like workers' compensation, but if you don't have employees, you don't need to worry about it. If you have independent contractors, like you have helpers, one, I highly recommend having helpers, but most of the time they're independent contractors, right? Where they're not your official employees, where you take out the taxes for them. Then as long as you have a business agreement with them, so a contract stating that you are not responsible for any of their stuff, then you're fine. You don't need to worry about that for them. So the two are to look into general business liability insurance and then ask about commercial auto insurance. And I think you're going to see different answers. And so that's the reason to ask. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a one size fits all. Next up, where to go? Where do you go for business insurance for our kind of industry? I will tell you, when we all started umpteen years ago, there wasn't anybody who understood what we did. And so it was really hard to get coverage. And so then we started getting lumped into, I got to tell you, there's a lot more liability with inflatable rentals than there are with yard signs, even though we're in the rental industry and we are at a customer's home. There's still a lot more liability with moonwalks. And so moonwalks, it's a lot more expensive to have insurance there. In the most recent years, there are some companies that have been coming up and they are a lot more likely to write policies for you. Now, one thing to know is that with a lot of other insurances, it all depends on your region, AKA where you live. So I can't sit here and tell you, oh, it's going to cost about this much money, because that's another question I get a lot. Well, how much is this going to cost me? It could be $300, it could be $350, it could be $1,200. And so I am hoping, for your sake, it's $300, $350, something around that. That seems to be a more popular number very recently. 2 years ago, 5 years ago, it was a lot more. 10 years ago, holy smokes, it was definitely a lot more. So here's my number one recommendation. I am assuming you have insurance through somebody, right? If you own a home, you have homeowners insurance and you have auto insurance. If you have those with the same person, the same company, that's your number one place to go to and ask about general liability. Do you know why? Well, I'm glad you asked. The reason for that is you'll get a better deal, hypothetically, when you have your policies all bundled together. Does that make sense? So if you've got, I guess you can't see my visual aids. I've got this visual aid. This is my homeowner's insurance. This is my life insurance, actually. And then let's see, I need my general liability. Well, when they're like this and they're separate, I don't get as good of a deal. But when I have my life insurance and my homeowners together, I'm getting a better deal. So now when I want my general liability insurance, if I let it be friends with the others, guess what? I'm going to get a better deal. I say that hypothetically, but it's the first place to start is with your own agent. If they're all scattered, then that may not apply, but it's worth asking, because even if you can bundle two things together, most often there is some sort of savings that you'll get for having more than one insurance product with the company. Now, after you do that, next up, there's there's 4 other places that I know of. And I actually know that there's more, but I've written down 4 of them for you. And that would be Next Insurance, NEXT, Hiscox. I always want to say Hitchcock, but Hiscox, HISCOX. 3, the number 3. And actually State Farm recently started carrying, I think they actually know who we are as an industry now. And I'm trying to think. Those are the 4 I know of that will write us a policy. And let's see, except for State Farm, the other 3 are online. And so it's not going to be something that you would meet with them on. And so you can simply just do this online. I went through it just to test the system with 2 of them. And it's, you're answering questions online forms, and then they give you a quote. Now, does that mean it's super comprehensive? I don't know. I did not sign up that way because I'm a really oddball person. I kind of want to know for sure, are you covering my industry? And so I did not see them say, we cover the yard card business industry. So with that said, I was testing this out so I could tell you how it works, quite frankly. So anyway, okay, I think that's it. It's 36 minutes in now. And so I want to thank y'all so much for being here. And I hope that these 3 topics have been helpful. And again, I'll kind of recap real quick before we turn this off. We've got how to earn more money. Remember what I said about that. I want you to go and look at what your actual financial goal is and then create a startup budget. If you're existing, I want you to look at it and see if you need to tweak it in any way. And then we will have a separate training and we'll go over some super specific strategies you can use. Number 2, taxes. We were talking about QuickBooks. We were talking about your Yard Card Business Network membership. We were talking about clothing, right? We all remember the fun clothing, and Alan is not going to have to wear pink. And then we talked about the super fun topic of insurance. So I hope any of that was helpful. Go ahead and do me a favor. I know that most of you are watching this on a replay, but I would love to know what one of the takeaways is for you. And with that being said, the next thing I want to mention just real quick is a lot of this is stuff that we really try to dive into over in the Yard Card Business Network. And that's especially, really the biggest thing is how to earn more income is such a huge topic. And that's what we're doing over there is we're trying to work on how to build the right foundation for you, because you got to have, y'all know the 3 little pigs story, right? And then each pig built their house out of a different kind of material. And then the big bad wolf comes in and he huffs and he puffs and he blows down 2 out of the 3 pigs' houses. Which house do you want yours to be made of? Your business, which business house do you want yours to be made of? So what we're trying to do over with the Yard Card Business Network is help you build it with a solid foundation. This stuff isn't sexy, but we gotta do it. We gotta do it. But then what we love to work on is how to help build your business. And a lot of that is marketing. And a lot of that is some simple strategies. And so I want to invite you all to go over, if you're interested, learning more about it. Because, and I'll just let you all in on this, I haven't really been publishing a lot about this yet, but we have a Facebook ads masterclass. Masterclass is a new term for workshop. It's coming up on March 24th. And we have an amazing Facebook ads expert, and he focuses on local businesses, because local businesses have a different sort of need than an online business do, right? We know that, right? We have we don't want to advertise. If I'm down here in Houston, Texas, I don't want to advertise down in Missouri, right? Or up in Missouri. So it's a lot different than just a general online marketing plan. So we have him coming in. He's going to do this really great. This is a bonus for new Yard Card Business Network members. And so I'm throwing that out there because we've got just over a week. And so we have the membership open right now, but then we're actually going to close it so that we can go through this training with Armando, our Facebook ads expert. And then we've got some more things we want to get done before crazy busy season happens, right? So with that said, I do invite you to come over, take a look at that. We've got some other things I'm going to be rolling out, some bonuses for other bonuses for anybody that does go ahead and join soon. And we are going to be actually changing our pricing really soon. And so the sooner anybody gets in, the better. Of course, that's kind of how it goes, right? So anyway, I will post the link here. You know what? I will post the link here in 1 second. And then that way you all can go over. And I want to know what you all think about it, because, we are all here to work on our businesses and make them better, right? That's what I'm here for. And that's the reason we have the Yard Card Business Network. And if any of you know any of our members, let me just tell you, I am in awe of the kind of massive action they are taking, because they're thriving, and I just love it. And I'm so proud of them, and I'm honored to get to help guide them to make their businesses grow and flourish. So anyway, I put that link in. I hope you'll go over and check it out. And remember, we have that bonus right now that you'll get in on the Facebook ads workshop masterclass. And we also have, you can get in on the current pricing, but that pricing is actually changing very, very, very soon. And I promise you, you're going to love the pricing that's on there right now even more. So if you're even on the fence or thinking about it, go ahead and go sign up right now. Seriously. I mean, I'm that's not just like marketing going on. I promise we actually meant to go ahead and change the pricing. We just haven't done it yet. So that will be changing soon. So Alan, thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you here. I really do appreciate your time. And I hope you all found something helpful here. And look for more notifications. Oh yeah, one more thing. We're going to be emailing out, like a lot of people got the email about this Facebook Live today. So if you're not on our email list, go up to that link I just put in here. It's yardcardbusinessnetwork.com. Up at the very top, there is a link to subscribe. When you subscribe to our email list, or you get yourself on the business expense cheat sheet, when you download any of those freebies, you get on our email list. And then we're going to be emailing out and let you know when we're going to have another training. Or just check out our Facebook page here, because I'm going to be posting very soon for our next Facebook Live, because like I said, I'm doing a deep dive this week, and some of it's going to be from the car, y'all, because I'm keeping it real. We are all busy. We're all doing lots of different things, and I learn on the go. I bet you can learn on the go too. So that's part of what we're trying to do here. So anyway, thank y'all so much for being here. Erica, hi, sweet lady. It's nice to see you here. Andrea, thank you so much. Andrea is one of our wonderful paid members, and I've just loved seeing how Andrea has just grown and grown and grown, and she's been in this industry for a long time. So Andrea, thank you for being here. Alan, Erica, it's so great to see you all, and we'll be back this week. And let me know if y'all have any questions. Just leave them in the comments, and I will start checking the comments here throughout the day. And I'm looking forward to hearing what your takeaway is from all of this, because I know some of this was kind of fun. Some of this was not a fun topic. So let me know what your good nugget was. I want to hear about your golden nugget from this. And I will see you later this week. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you soon. Cheers. I'm trying to end this now, right? All right, here we go. This time for real. Cheers.